Hey guys, so before we get into the actual meat of this video, I just want to take a quick minute to address the cross-country video that I posted. If you're watching this, then you've probably already seen it. If you haven't, feel free to check it out. But lately it's been kind of blowing up. Hopefully what I'm saying doesn't come across as cliche or cheesy, but when I posted this video, I honestly only had 11 subscribers, which were all my family and friends, by the way. So I honestly expected only a couple hundred views at the very best. However, I ended up posting the video to Instagram, some aviation forums, as well as Reddit, which really kind of helped the video gain some traction. Over the course of about 6 months, the video got about 7,000 views, and I gained about 300 subscribers, which might not sound like a whole lot when compared to big YouTubers, but for me that was a ton. However, as you guys can see, over the past few weeks, it's been viewed over several 100,000 times, which is just insane. And I'm not saying that to brag or boast or anything like that. I just want to sincerely thank you guys all for watching, for liking, for commenting, for subscribing to the channel. It's absolutely crazy and I really appreciate every single one of you guys. I had a ton of questions and comments on that video, so as much as I tried, I simply couldn't reply to every single person. However, I will be making several videos detailing literally everything from the price of the airplane to how I was able to afford it to how I planned and executed the entire coast-to-coast cross-country flight. So stay tuned. Honestly, it might take me a little bit of time to make the videos because I want them to be extremely accurate and thorough and go over literally everything. However, they are coming, I promise. Anyways, that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into this video. I'm gonna play a raw, uncut video of my best competition flight. For those of you who've seen my latest competition video, this is actually gonna be the third and final flight from that competition. Now, that event took place late in the season last year, but because of COVID and all the complications surrounding that, I still didn't get a chance to fly another competition this season, which means that technically this is my best competition flight ever. So I thought it might be interesting to show you guys exactly how the flight went without any fancy edits or music. Afterwards, I'll explain exactly what I was actually doing in the flight, what I might have done well and then not so well, as well as tell you guys exactly what I scored on these flights. Here's that video. Okay, so before we go any further, I want to make it clear that I'm not a certified flight instructor, nor am I an IAC judge. So take everything that I'm saying with a grain of salt. I have attended judges school and I have passed the test, so I do know a little bit, but definitely don't use this video in place of flight instruction or professional aerobatic critique. Now let's get into this video. I'm going to use this A10 here to hopefully help demonstrate exactly what I was doing. I wish I had footage from me from the ground, from the outside. Unfortunately, there simply wasn't anybody who could film me from the ground, so this is going to have to do for now. So we start the sequence off with 3 wing wags, and that's basically just wagging the airplane's wings, kind of like waving hello 3 times. This is a requirement to enter the box. box, basically it serves several purposes. You start the sequence up usually really high at altitude, so it could be really hard for the judges to even spot your airplane. So when you're wagging around, it's actually easier for your eye to catch it. And two, it gives the pilot a chance to kind of get his bearings, find out where the judges are, where the boundaries are, before you actually start flying. It also signifies that you're officially entering the aerobatic box and you're officially starting your sequence. The wing wags are not graded, but everything after that is. So you can see once I level off, instead of starting my maneuver right away, I'm waiting for a while. And the reason being is I misjudged completely how far I was to the box. I wagged in way too far to the side when I thought I was a lot closer to the box, which meant I just had to scurry along the ground. You can see me looking side to side, trying to find the box, enter the box, and then start my next figure. By the way, all of these figures are flown from the start of the circle on the diagram, and you finish at the finish line. You can kind of think of it as starting on the dot and finishing at the finish line. So that's kind of how you read these maneuvers. So figure one is pretty simple. It's a straight pull to a 45-degree line up. And it could get a little technical if we really want to talk about it, but for this video, it's pretty simple. You pull up and you hold that nose, or actually basically you're holding the wing cord up against the horizon at 45 degrees, regardless of what the wind or airspeed does to you. I think I did pretty good. I saw a little bit of wiggle on the line, but not too bad. Now you can see once I finish figure one, the end of the figure is actually a flat line. It should be flying perfectly flat. However, my airspeed is so low that once I finish this 45-degree climb, I only have to push just a little bit for me to maintain a horizontal flight. If I push my nose completely flat, I would actually be descending. So I keep my nose pretty high up. It almost looks like I don't even push forward, and that keeps my flight path horizontal, which is what the judges are looking for on the horizontal lines. Now figure two is a spin and a half, and basically what you're doing is you're stalling and spinning the airplane. All three axes of the airplane, so pitch, yaw, and roll, have to happen at the same time, so it has to be a nice smooth motion and go into a spin. For the spin and a half, your spin is kind of developing all the way up to that 1.5 turn, so it's gradually getting faster and faster, and you have to stop it on a heading. So going up, and that would be 1, 2, and you have to stop it going exactly opposite where you came from, which could be a little bit tricky, but it just comes with practice. Overall, I think I did this figure fairly well, but what I don't like is towards the end, right before I start pulling out of it, I have a little bit of a bobble on the wings. I think I was just getting ready to pull back and might have accidentally moved the ailerons. So figure three is a half Cuban, which means I'm flying along, and then I do a half circle, 3/4 circle or so, and then on the back side, I do a half roll, and then I pull out. And the tricky part about this has to look like a perfect circle up until that point. And then after that point, let's say this is where the circle stopped, you have to travel the same distance after you roll, so here's that distance, to where you finish. And your airplane's constantly accelerating, so there has to be some symmetry there. I had a little bit of a bobble when I rolled back out on the ailerons, but overall I think my angle stayed relatively the same, so I'm not too disappointed with that figure. Figure four is a loop or a circle, and as simple as it sounds, perfect circles are actually extremely hard to draw in the sky, which is what we're trying to do. So we start from the dot, and we continue, and we make our circle, and as we come up here, gravity takes effect and we slow down, which means that we're not going as fast, which means we have to float and hold this a lot longer than we do down here. Basically, the technique is you pull really hard, and then you float over the top, and then you pull hard again to finish that loop. Watching this back, I would say I might have floated a little bit too much, to be honest. I know I had a headwind pushing me back, so I probably could have pulled that over a little bit faster, but overall, again, I don't think it was that bad. Figure five is a 180-degree turn, which sounds pretty simple. You just turn 180 degrees and roll out. The technical part about it is that your roll has to be over 60 degrees, your altitude has to stay the same, and then your bank angle has to stay the same throughout the entire turn. Really, my only complaint with this figure is that when I rolled out of that turn, I rolled out uncoordinated, basically where your airplane's flying a little bit sideways. But besides that, I think it was a pretty good figure. And last, we have a slow roll, which seems pretty simple. It's just an aileron roll, but the technicalities come in because you cannot pitch your nose up before you start the roll, and you have to keep the same altitude throughout. So what we do is we start the roll, and we use rudder to hold ourselves up, then nose up, then opposite rudder, so it's flying sideways, and then we level off. And that keeps us on one altitude. I think I actually might have barreled the roll, so instead of flying it perfectly straight, I actually went up and down and around. So that's not good, but I don't think it was bad enough for the judges to notice or penalize me for it. And then we end the whole flight with 3 more wing wags, just indicating that you're leaving the box, you're done with the competition, and you're going to land. As I mentioned, wing wags are not graded, so the only stressful thing remaining is the actual landing of the airplane itself. Now, I do want to go over exactly what I scored on this flight because none of it really matters unless you know what I actually got. So let's see here. For my first flight ever, I got a total score of 76.08%. For my second flight, I got 78.67%, so it's better. And for my last flight, for this flight that you saw, I got 79.29%, total. So to give you guys some context, these scores are given out of 100%. However, the highest score that was given to anybody during the whole entire competition was, I believe, in sportsman. I was actually flying in the lowest category, which is primary, and the category above me is sportsman, and I believe somebody on sportsman got a low 80. That was the highest score given on the whole competition. I think it was an 80 to maybe 83%, somewhere around that range. However, that's in a completely different class. I really doubt that I would have scored the same in sportsman. However, it did give me at least something to compare against. And last but not least, I want to show you guys a raw pits landing. In my cross-country video, a lot of people asked, hey, did you get better at the landings? And I completely forgot in that video when I was making it to even address whether or not I got better at the landings, which I'm pleased to announce that I actually did. Even through the course of the cross-country, I got much better at the landings, but like I said, I'll detail that in a future video. So I just want to show you guys a raw, uncut pits landing that actually happened during this competition that I personally feel much better about as opposed to the one when I first bought the airplane. But before I leave you guys off with that, I just want to say thank you for watching this. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or even compliments, I take those as well. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more content. Like I said, I am going to be posting those detailed videos soon, so look out for those. And if you want even more content, you can follow me on Instagram at Lomov. In the meantime, I'll leave you off with a greasy pits landing that I actually did at this competition. Here it is.